All right, the big news is coming in from the world of cricket is pertaining to the IPL media rights. And even though the format that we're talking about is T20 cricket, but the way it's playing out, the way the IPL auction is playing out, it seems like it is a test match. Hectic bidding is happening for the 2 days that we've seen at the IPL action. 4 major players that were part of the bidding process. But now what we can tell you, there are 2 clear players that have emerged. And for the very first time in the history of the IPL broadcast, we will have 2 different broadcasters. One for television, one for digital. It will go on to day 3 and then we'll get the real numbers. But the big numbers that are pertaining to the Indian subcontinent, that's television and digital. Those are the numbers that we'll be telling you on the show. Joining me on the program would be Harish Thawani, a sports broadcaster, also the founder of Nimbus Communication. They held the Indian rights for many, many years. Nobody knows about the sport broadcasting landscape as better as Mr. Thawani, who joins us now. We'll also be joined by Sunny Gavaskar, not only as a former cricketer, but remember he was also the BCCI chief at the time that the IPL was happening and has been part of the IPL ever since it started as a very important member of that IPL governing council. I'll try and get to them a little later. We'll try and break down the numbers for you as well. But Mr. Thawani, let me come to you firstly. The figures that we're looking at, it's close to 45,000 crore for the 5 years, still counting, could go well above that as well. On first look, do you think that's tenable? Did you imagine that the numbers would touch here? And if they have, are they tenable? Do you see a return of investment in these kind of numbers that are being invested in?
I think this question was addressed to me, but there's so much echo on the line from your studios that I didn't actually quite catch the question. So can you come again?
To you, and I wanted to know, just on first look, just looking at these numbers, we're touching close to 45,000 crore for 5 years. Do you think that's tenable? Did you expect it to go this far?
Sorry to butt in, but your voice is constantly echoing, so I can't catch the question. I know someone's talking, but...
Okay, I'll try and get back to you. We'll try and fix that line, Mr. Thawani. But just to let our viewers know as well, let me just break down some numbers for you and then we'll have the package up on your screen as well. What is it that we're talking about? So 2 basic elements of this rights. Remember, there are 4 bouquets that you're looking at. The first 2, the most important, are television for Indian subcontinent and digital for Indian subcontinent. Now, those are the 2 most important numbers. Those have been decided. What we're getting to hear from our sources in Mumbai, where the bidding is happening, that most likely the digital winner is Viacom 18, backed by Reliance at close to 20,500 crores. So you'll have the IPL matches on the digital platform that could well be Voot or even on Jio on your mobile phones. But for the very first time, as I mentioned at the start of the program, for the very first time we'll have 2 broadcasters. The other for television, there's a bit of confusion over who's got the television right, but we can tell you the actual number. So the number is at 23,575 crore. That's how much the television rights have gone to. So if you combine the 2, just the digital and television for the Indian subcontinent, you're looking at close to 43,500 crore. Imagine the last time around it was 16,500 crore. It's jumped many folds to reach 43,500 crore for a period of 5 years. Let me give you some comparison numbers, and that will actually put into perspective the numbers that we're talking about. The very first season of the IPL, the value of each IPL match was at 13.5 crore. 13.5 crore was the value of one IPL match. By the time the 11th season came about, the value had risen to 55 crore. From 13.5 to 55 crore in just 10 years. Look at where we are right now. We're closing in on 113 crore, the bare minimum for an IPL game that the BCCI will get from the broadcasters, combined digital and TV. 113 crores in a period of 15 years. You started with 13.6 crore first year, you're at 113 crore. That's how much the IPL has grown. The IPL television rights and digital rights have grown. So that's the first thing to ponder over. Just see the exponential growth that the IPL media rights have had. What is the other thing that you notice? The other thing that is very, very clear looking at this, that for the very first time, digital and TV are neck and neck. There's no more the case of TV being the more dominant partner and digital being the future. It started with a ratio of 80-10, but now it's almost reached at 50-50. Okay, joining me now is Harish Thawani. I introduced him earlier. I hope, Mr. Thawani, before I throw in the first question, you can hear me?
Now it's much clearer. Yes, thank you. So
okay, apologies for the earlier confusion, but you know, live television, these things tend to happen. Okay, my first question to you, and this is just taking on from where I was. We kept saying for the longest time, I remember, we kept saying that, you know what, digital is the future. Now it's neck and neck. I'm just taking a look at the numbers, and if the non-exclusive numbers also come through, digital will be almost at par with television, maybe a difference of 1,000 or 2,000 crore. Is it fair to say digital is not the future, digital is the present?
Well, Ravi Shastri fondly calls me Nostradamus, but that's, I think, only in terms of predicting last ball wins. I'm not Nostradamus when it comes to business. But I did some quick back of the digital envelope calculations on what the incumbent knows. I mean, Star is the incumbent, as the most prominent rumor or informed sources at the moment are telling us that Star has retained the TV rights. So assuming that is true, there is incumbent knowledge. The fact that Star retained the TV rights at a price that implies a significant growth on a per match basis from what they paid last time there was no split between TV and digital, so it's tough to say what they in their minds took as a TV view, but it's definitely 50-70% higher. So they know something that the rest of the bidders might not know as to what the real value of TV is. A quick maths will tell you that a T20 IPL match, because there's four strategic breaks, tends to yield about 3,500 seconds of advertising time. On an assumption of a 10 lakh rupee per 10-second price average for the next 5 years, which is highly likely because prices were already crossing 10 lakh rupees, not on an average, but on a... Sorry, let me just kill one call, please.
Sure.
That translates to about 34 crores per match in revenues. They've paid 57.5. That leaves over a 5-year period, sum in subscription numbers to be covered of 9,635 crores, which translates to 1,927 crores per annum. And that's maths that's not difficult to figure out. It's a stretch. 1,927 crores it's a stretch to get incremental value on subscription on IPL. But it's not difficult to fathom. I spoke to 2 people in the cable and the satellite TV industry, and they are, I mean, they say, you know, they'll be mugged for more money, but at a stretch. So it's a sort of break-even number. Okay. The maths on the digital, in some people's mind, including my mind, doesn't seem to add up. And I buy a point that digital is the present, is the future. Too early to call that dead, but let's assume that digital will challenge TV for mind space and audience time over the next 5 years on an equal basis. Present digital ad rates on the IPL were about 50% of that of TV. And therefore, that gives you about 17 crores a match. And therefore, on the subscriber side, it leaves an uncovered gap of 13,500 crores over 5 years. That's about 2,700 crores a year. And that, I'm not sure, adds up. Okay. Subscriber numbers in India on digital have grown. But remember, we come from a wholesale economy. We all bought cable TV at 100, 200 rupees and got all 800 channels or 400 channels. Yeah. And the bundling concept on digital remains. So, for example, and without taking brand names on air, one prominent telecom carrier gives you about 5 OTT apps included in the monthly subscription. Now, I know that for the leading OTT app, they're just paying 10 rupees a month, while on an individual basis, if you subscribe to that app, you're paying 149. Okay. So do the maths. You know, on 400 million subscribers on via mobile that are using data packs, at 10 rupees, what do you make? I mean, it's nothing. It's 40 crores.
Yep.
So I'm not sure the digital subscription model has evolved sufficiently to cover, but you know, again, on the assumption that is Viacom 18/Jio who are the digital winners, which it appears to be, and the fact that the right to continue bidding for that was eventually abandoned by Star after a meek attempt this morning. Again, it's incumbent knowledge. The incumbent knows something that the challenger doesn't seem to know, that beyond this, at this value, it's not worth it, drop it. Remember, there's a
Right.
flanking strategy. There's package C, and if Hotstar was to pick up package C in the bidding, which I'm told has now touched 18 crores a match
Yes.
today,
Yeah.
and possibly will go up tomorrow morning. But you know that doesn't move the needle. 18 into whatever 90 matches, you can pay 22, 23, 25. It doesn't move the big needle, and suddenly that package can seriously disrupt the main digital owner. So let's see. It's interesting. There's good strategy at play. I must admire all the players who are successful. Very interesting strategy.
Okay, very interesting, Mr. Thawani. You broke it down very well for us, just looking at each different package. And as Mr. Thawani says that TV, it seems like it's a break-even number. You divided it between, your ad revenue alongside subscription. But in digital, he doesn't feel that the numbers really add up. What strategy is at play, we'd have to see. But you also talk about the incumbent knowing some sort of inside knowledge. But then you saw the last time around, the incumbent chose not to come to 16,500 crore, which, Hotstar Disney went for. And it proved to be, a good bet for them at the time. But Sony didn't at the time. Mr. Thawani, I'll come back to you. Mr. Sunny Gavaskar is also with us. And sorry, Mr. Thawani, I couldn't hear you. I'll try and get that line fixed a bit. But Sunny, I don't expect you to do number crunching as well as Mr. Thawani did, because that's what he does for a living. I know that. But I get you. Now I'm going to talk to you not only in the capacity of being a former player. You were also a former BCCI chief, specifically at the time of while the IPL was on. You were also part of that governing council when the IPL started. My simple question to you is, I was just showing a few numbers. 13.5 crore is what the first time the broadcaster paid for one match of the IPL season 1. It's reached 115 crore. You've been very closely involved with the IPL in all sorts of capacity. Did you ever imagine it'll reach these numbers?
First and foremost, let me just say that, it was just an absolute delight to listen to the way Harish broke down the numbers. Look, I think from my experience, and I'm sure there are others as well, but, because I've interacted with these three gentlemen, Lalit Modi, Sundar Raman, and Harish Thawani, I've interacted with them at somewhere or the other. These three are absolutely unbelievably brilliant minds. As far as, breaking down these numbers, getting, they know the inside out, the bottom, top of the TV business like nobody else does. I'm sure there are other TV executives who are obviously pretty much, savvy with these numbers and all that. But because I've interacted with these three, I have to say that listening to Harish was a great pleasure. And no, I never thought that after the first year, when the IPL started, that these would be the numbers that they would be reaching after 15 years. This is absolutely terrific, and congratulations to everybody concerned. Everybody concerned, because it is not just the rights, etc. You're looking at the quality of the coverage. You're looking at what it's giving to the viewers. And because the viewers love it, because, the numbers are always have been good. I know this year, maybe the numbers might have dropped. They might have been viewer fatigue because, the IPL was, the previous IPL finished just 6 to 8 months ago. So various reasons that they might have been. But this number today, which we have got, is just mind-boggling. And I just want to congratulate everybody, the BCCI, the TV executives who crunch the numbers and have come to this. And make no mistake, I think they'll make sure that the viewer, who's the most important person, the viewer will get, a big bang for his buck.
All right, Mr. Thawani, can you hear me now? Sorry, you were saying something about the incumbent, last time around.
I was saying last time you said that Sony, the incumbent, had the knowledge and yet sort of dropped out. Remember, they lost by a whisker, 3%. So, and it was a sealed bid. So if it was an auction, they would have the option to go higher. So incumbent knowledge last time showed them that the curve was trending upwards. Uday pounced on it and talked to him that he saw it coming, and he projected that the next 5 years it would keep growing. And I agree with Sunny Bhai, and thank you, Sunny Bhai, for your very, very warm remarks. But I agree with him that the product will keep growing, its appeal will keep enhancing, they'll find ways to innovate, whether it's coverage or whether it's the product itself. And therefore, the consumer involvement in this will remain high. I'm not for any in any way saying that there is a mistake in going gung-ho for the IPL rights. If I was still in the business, I would have participated too. I'm not. But I'm just questioning the wisdom of the digital number. But it might be a strategic call, and strategic calls can be afforded by the giant organizations. So hats off to them if they have a play which I don't see as yet.
Unfortunately, completely out of time on the show, but I'd love to thank my two guests who joined us with great insight in Sunny Gavaskar, Harish Tawani. But we'll continue the discussion tomorrow as well, because as I said, it's going to go into day 3. The numbers are already fascinating. That's all the time that we have on our program. Thanks so much for watching.